Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what these expressions mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we dive in, if you're finding this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a ton, and I really appreciate your support. All right, let's get started with our first expression. Number 1, in one ear and out the other. This idiom means that someone heard what you said, but they didn't really listen or remember it. It's like the words went into their ear and then immediately left through the other ear, without stopping in their brain. We use this when someone isn't paying attention or when they forget something right after you tell them. I remember when I was in college, I had a roommate who would always ask me when our rent was due. I'd tell her, "It's due on the 15th," but then a few days later, she'd ask me the same question again. One day I said to her, "I keep telling you it's the 15th, but everything I say goes in one ear and out the other." She laughed and admitted she wasn't really listening because she was always thinking about other things. For example, you might say, "I told my son to clean his room 3 times, but it went in one ear and out the other." Here's another one. "The teacher explained the math problem, but it went in one ear and out the other because I was so tired." People often say, "When my mom gives me advice about dating, it goes in one ear and out the other because I think I know better." Have you ever felt like someone wasn't really listening to you? This idiom is perfect for those situations. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this before. Number 2, every other day. This phrase means something happens on alternate days. So if you do something every other day, you do it one day, then skip the next day, then do it again the day after that. It's like a pattern. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. My friend Sarah goes to the gym every other day. So she might go on Monday, then not on Tuesday, then go again on Wednesday, skip Thursday, and go on Friday. It's a great way to exercise regularly without overdoing it. She says it gives her muscles time to rest between workouts. For example, "I wash my hair every other day because washing it daily makes it too dry." You might hear something like, "The mailman comes to our neighborhood every other day, so we get mail on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday." Let's take this one. "My grandmother calls me every other day to check how I'm doing." This is such a useful phrase for talking about schedules and routines. Do you have anything you do every other day? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Number 3, a little under the weather. This phrase means you're feeling a bit sick or not quite yourself. It's not for serious illness, just when you're feeling a little off. Maybe you have a small headache, you're tired, or you feel like you might be getting a cold. It's a gentle, polite way to say you're not feeling great. Last week, my coworker Emma came to work looking tired and sniffling. When I asked how she was doing, she said, "I'm feeling a little under the weather today. I think I might be getting a cold." She didn't want to call in sick because she wasn't really sick yet, but she wanted people to know she wasn't feeling her best. For example, you might say, "I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I think I'll stay home tonight instead of going to the party." Here's another one. "My dad has been a little under the weather lately, so he's been resting more than usual." People often say, "I was under the weather yesterday, but I'm feeling much better today." This is such a common expression that native speakers use all the time. Have you ever felt under the weather? How do you usually take care of yourself when you're not feeling well? Number 4, "I'm afraid so." This expression is a polite way to say yes when the answer might be disappointing or unwelcome. We use "I'm afraid so" when we need to confirm something that the other person probably doesn't want to hear. It's more gentle than just saying yes directly. I remember when my neighbor asked me if her package was delivered to my house by mistake. She was expecting something important, and I had to tell her that yes, I did receive her package, but unfortunately it was damaged. I said, "I'm afraid so. Your package did come to my house, but it looks like it got wet during delivery." The "I'm afraid so" made the bad news a little softer. For example, if someone asks, "Is the store closed already?" and it is closed, you might say, "I'm afraid so. They closed about 10 minutes ago." You might hear something like, "Did I miss the bus?" "I'm afraid so, but the next one comes in 20 minutes. Let's take this one. "Is it going to be expensive to fix my car?" "I'm afraid so, but I can give you a good deal." This phrase helps you sound more sympathetic when you have to give bad news. Have you ever had to tell someone something they didn't want to hear? This expression would be perfect for those situations. Number 5, "How did that happen?" This is a simple question we ask when we want to know the reason or cause of something, especially when we're surprised or confused. We use it when something unexpected occurs, and we want more details about what led to that situation. Yesterday, I was talking to my friend Mike, and he told me his phone screen was completely cracked. I immediately asked, "How did that happen?" He explained that he was walking his dog, and the dog suddenly saw a squirrel and pulled really hard on the leash. Mike lost his balance and dropped his phone right on the concrete. Sometimes things happen so suddenly that we just want to understand the story behind it. For example, if your friend tells you they lost their keys, you might ask, "How did that happen?" Here's another one. Imagine your coworker comes in with a bandage on their hand. You could say, "How did that happen? Are you okay?" People often say this when they see something unexpected. "Your car has a dent in it. How did that happen?" This is probably one of the most natural questions in English. We're always curious about the stories behind things that happen. What's the most surprising thing that's happened to you recently? I'd love to hear the story in the comments. Number 6, who'd like to start? This sentence is a polite way to ask for a volunteer to begin something. Who'd is the contraction of who would, so it's really asking, who would like to start? We use this in group situations when someone needs to go first, like in meetings, presentations, games, or discussions. I remember in my English class in high school, our teacher would always say this when we had to give presentations. She'd look around the room and ask, "Who'd like to start?" There was always that awkward moment when everyone looked at each other, hoping someone else would volunteer. Finally, someone brave would raise their hand and say, "I'll go first." It's a much nicer way than just pointing at someone and saying, "You go first." For example, a teacher might say, "We're going to share our weekend stories. Who'd like to start?" You might hear something like this at a work meeting. "Let's go around and give our updates. Who'd like to start?" Let's take this one. We're playing a game where everyone tells a funny story. Who'd like to start us off? This is such a useful sentence for group situations. It's polite and gives people a choice. Have you ever been in a situation where someone asked this question? Were you brave enough to volunteer, or did you wait for someone else? Let me know in the comments. Number 7, I'm afraid not. This expression is the opposite of I'm afraid so. It's a polite way to say no when you have to disappoint someone or deny their request. Just like I'm afraid so, it softens the blow of giving unwelcome news. Last month, my little nephew asked me if I could take him to the toy store right away. I had to work late that day, so I said, I'm afraid not, buddy. I have to finish some work first, but maybe we can go tomorrow. The I'm afraid not made my no sound much gentler than just saying, no, I can't. It shows that I wish I could help, but I can't in this situation. For example, if someone asks, is there any pizza left? And there isn't, you might say, I'm afraid not. We finished it all during lunch. Here's another one. Can you stay late tonight to help with the project? I'm afraid not. I have a doctor's appointment. People often say, do you have change for a $20 bill? I'm afraid not. I only have credit cards with me. This phrase is so useful for being polite when you have to say no. It shows that you care about the person's feelings even when you can't help them. Do you find it hard to say no sometimes? This expression can make it easier. Number 8, I hope it doesn't rain. This sentence expresses a wish about future weather. We say this when we have outdoor plans or when rain would be inconvenient for us. It's a very common way to talk about weather hopes, especially when we're planning something outside. Just last weekend, I was planning a picnic with my friends in the park. I kept checking the weather forecast because it said there was a chance of rain. I kept saying to everyone, I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. We had bought all this food and planned games, and rain would have ruined everything. Luckily, the weather was beautiful, and we had a great time. But I probably said, I hope it doesn't rain about 50 times that week. For example, you might say, I'm getting married next Saturday, and I hope it doesn't rain for our outdoor ceremony. You might hear something like, I'm planning to wash my car tomorrow, so I hope it doesn't rain. Let's take this one. We're having a barbecue this weekend, and I hope it doesn't rain because all our friends are coming. This is such a natural thing to say, especially when you live in a place where the weather can be unpredictable. Do you have any outdoor plans coming up? Are you hoping for good weather? What do you usually do when it rains and ruins your plans? Number 9, fill out this form. This sentence means to complete a form by writing information in all the required spaces. Fill out is a phrasal verb that means to complete something by adding the missing information. We use this all the time for paperwork, applications, surveys, and official documents. I had to go to the doctor's office last week for a regular checkup. When I arrived, the receptionist handed me a clipboard and said, please fill out this form with your current information. It was a simple form asking for my name, address, phone number, and insurance information. I sat in the waiting room and filled it out with a pen. It took about 5 minutes, and then I gave it back to her. For example, when you start a new job, someone might say, here's your paperwork. Please fill out this form for your tax information. You might hear something like, to join the gym, you need to fill out this form with your personal details. People often say, if you want to enter the contest, you have to fill out this form with your contact information. This is something you'll hear constantly in official situations. Have you ever had to fill out a lot of forms for something? Maybe when you applied for school or a job. It can be pretty tedious, but it's just part of adult life. Let me know in the comments what the most complicated form you've ever filled out was. Number 10. Have you lost your mind? This expression is used when someone does something that seems crazy, dangerous, or completely unreasonable. It's not literally asking if they've lost their mind, but it's a way to express shock or disbelief at someone's actions or decisions. We usually say this to people we're close to, like family or friends, when they do something we think is foolish. I remember when my brother told me he wanted to quit his stable job to become a street performer. I looked at him and said, "Have you lost your mind? You have a mortgage and 2 kids." I wasn't being mean, I was just shocked by what seemed like a very risky decision. He ended up keeping his job and doing street performing on weekends as a hobby, which worked out much better. For example, if your friend wants to go swimming in freezing weather, you might say, "Have you lost your mind? It's 40 degrees outside." Here's another one. "You want to drive through the night without sleeping? Have you lost your mind?" Let's take this one. "You're going to eat that pizza that's been sitting out for 6 hours. Have you lost your mind?" This expression is pretty strong, so be careful when you use it. It's okay with close friends and family, but it might sound rude to strangers or informal situations. Have you ever seen someone do something that made you think they'd lost their mind? I'd love to hear those stories in the comments. Let's recap what we learned today. We covered so many useful expressions today. Let me quickly go through all 10 expressions we learned. Number 1 was "in one ear and out the other," which means someone heard you but didn't really listen or remember. Number 2 was "every other day," meaning something happens on alternate days. Number 3 was "a little under the weather," a gentle way to say you're feeling slightly sick. Number 4 was "I'm afraid so," a polite way to say yes to something disappointing. Number 5 was "how did that happen?" which is how we ask for the story behind something surprising. Number 6 was "who'd like to start?" a polite way to ask for volunteers. Number 7 was "I'm afraid not," a gentle way to say no. Number 8 was "I hope it doesn't rain," expressing a wish about the weather. Number 9 was "fill out this form," meaning to complete paperwork. And number 10 was "have you lost your mind?" which expresses shock at someone's unreasonable behavior. These are all expressions you'll hear native speakers use constantly in everyday life. The more you practice using them, the more natural your English will sound. Remember, learning English is like building a house. You need to add one brick at a time. Each new expression you learn is another brick in your English foundation. I really hope this video was helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We post new videos every day with more idioms, phrases, and sentences that will help you sound more like a native speaker. Tomorrow we'll have another 10 expressions for you to learn, so make sure to come back and continue building your English skills. Don't forget to practice these expressions in your own conversations. Try using 1 or 2 of them with your friends, family, or coworkers. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become. And remember, making mistakes is part of learning, so don't be afraid to try. Which of these 10 expressions was your favorite today? Or maybe you have a funny story about a time when you or someone you know used one of these expressions. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Your stories and questions help me create better videos for all of you. Take care and keep practicing your English. Remember, every day you practice is a day you get closer to fluency. You're doing great, and I'm so proud of you for taking the time to improve your English. See you tomorrow for another exciting lesson.